When you look at the United States economy, when you look at the global economy, there's two ways you can look at these economies. You can look at them as an economist, or you can look at them as a survivalist. Knowing everything that is going on globally, everything that is going on in the United States of America, knowing everything that is going on right now, I believe you need to be looking at these economies as a survivalist. There's not a lot of good news out there. In fact, the news keeps getting worse. Pending home sales fell 4.6% year over year, down 10 consecutive months. New home sales collapsed in October, down 8.9% from September. They're now down 12% compared to last year in October to this October. You know, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out that something's not adding up here. If the economy's booming, if unemployment is at a record low, if wages are going up, how come we are not seeing record-breaking real estate numbers right now? Record-breaking real estate sales? How come we're not seeing record-breaking auto sales? In fact, General Motors is literally bankrupt. They lost $39 billion last year. They need $3.8 billion to restructure their company. They're literally a bankrupted company at this point, a company that we bailed out back after the '08 collapse. How come, if things are so great, how come that we're seeing thousands of retail stores closing up? Granted, I understand Amazon has taken a lot of that business, maybe about 10% of it. So we should not be seeing thousands of retailers closing shop. We shouldn't be seeing millions, over 100 million square foot of commercial real estate sitting vacant. So I don't understand, if things are booming, unemployment is low, and wages are going up, yet we're seeing thousands of retailers closing. This will be a record-breaking year for closures of retail stores. Record-breaking year for the amount of vacant commercial real estate that is sitting available and vacant. And we are now starting to see the housing market implode. So something's not adding up here. 2 plus 2 is not equaling 4. Again, why are we not seeing record-breaking retail, auto, and home sales right now? And how come Black Friday was down 1.7% from last year? We should have seen a record-breaking Black Friday. We didn't. Something is not right. A lot of people got excited yesterday. Dow Jones had a 600-point day, but I think we need to read a little deeper into it. Jerome Powell became a little dovish, saying that we were very close to neutral, whereas back in October, I think it was October 3rd, he said we were far off from being neutral. We were far from neutral. And yesterday he says we were very close to neutral. And so my question is, what does that mean? Does it mean that he's not going to raise rates? He's going to raise rates in December. There's a 90% chance that that happens. And I believe he will continue to raise rates in 2019. He did not say that he would not raise rates. He said we were near neutral. But we will see what that actually means. Will it be 2 rate hikes in 2019? Will it be 4? Will it be 3? We will see. My question is, though, what happens when this house of cards comes tumbling down? What happens if we had a collapse right now? What would this government do with a rate of 2.25%? There's nowhere to go. You can't go down. We're literally almost still at zero at 2.25%. If we have a hard economic collapse, or we come into a situation where we need to lower rates. When you're this low, how do you lower? Where do you go from here when you're already in the basement? So at some point, these rates do have to adjust because we need some flexibility. And if they don't, and something occurs, there's nowhere to go. I mean, we could see negative rates if something was to happen. So that's a concern. Another thing is, if we don't have interest rates, the person that's punished is the saver. The person that puts his money in the bank is punished. You are punished for saving money. So it's forcing you to gamble your money in these markets. And if we keep rates too low, there's nowhere to go in case of emergency. When you're already in the basement, when you have a purpose, a reason to lower these rates, and they're already so low, there's nowhere to go, it's going to be a huge problem. Where would we be? What is this telling the world? What is this telling you right now when we have a rate of 2.25%, a Fed's fund rate of 2.25%? If things were so great, how come we do not have a normalized rate? How come if this rate moves a quarter point, everything basically capitulates, everything seizes up? Because again, the economy is not doing that well. We have serious problems that right now at 2.25%, we're afraid to adjust these rates because the economy is in bad shape. There's going to be problems if we raise the rates, and there's going to be problems if we don't raise the rates. A couple of the problems with raising the rates is it's going to kill stock buybacks, it's going to cause corporate cutbacks, and it's going to hurt consumer spending. And if we don't raise rates, it's pretty much telling the entire world that the economy in America is not doing that well, that this economy has no legs, that this economy cannot even tolerate a quarter or a half point raise in the interest rates. This economy cannot tolerate and survive under normal rates. So things are propped up. Things are an illusion. They're fake. And so this is very artificial. And if we had a normal, strong economy, we should have a normal interest rate, and people should be rewarded for saving. People shouldn't be forced to gamble at the roulette wheel at Wall Street. So people are taking notice to this, and basically at this point, we're going to be damned if we do, damned if we don't. So you have got to be your own central bank. You've got to act as your own central bank, and you've got to be preparing, because no matter what, we're going to see an economic collapse here in America. People think that the banks, the central banks, have to keep this whole economy propped up and moving, when in fact it really doesn't. In fact, it's going to benefit the central banks to have an economic collapse here in America. And why is that? Because you're going to see the biggest wealth transfer the world has ever seen when this hits. You know, you're going to see a buying bonanza when this collapse hits America. And that's, again, why you have to be your own central bank, why you need to have money set aside, why you need to have your debts paid down, why you need to have gold and silver. You know, if we saw a currency collapse with an economic collapse, or an economic collapse that causes a currency collapse, there's a good possibility that we're going to see a new currency come to America, and it could be backed by gold or silver or both. You could come to a point in America where now the banks would literally be taking gold and silver as money, that you would have buying power with gold and silver, that it would be backing this new currency. You will see a buying bonanza as we saw in '08, but this one will be twice as big. And again, central banks at times purposely manipulate these markets to break so that they can come in and buy land, buy houses, buy businesses, buy natural resources, all at pennies on the dollar. And so there's going to be massive opportunities after this collapse. And if you think and act like a central bank, you're going to have the potential to make money, to take advantage when there is blood in the streets, to flourish, and to get ahead as the central banks are going to do. Pennies on the dollar. You will be able to buy at pennies on the dollar. You will be able to take advantage of somebody's misfortune because they weren't prepared. They had too much debt. They weren't awake. They were unprepared and did not see what was coming, and you did. And you'll be able to take advantage of these situations just like the central banks are going to take advantage of it. Again, they're going to take advantage and buy natural resources. They're going to buy businesses. They're going to buy land. They're going to buy houses just like they did before, except this time it's going to be a bigger sale and it's going to be cheaper. There is a blue light special coming to America, and the people who are awake and are prepared are going to make out like bandits. Today in 2018, if somebody tells you that that's impossible, that couldn't happen, they're lying. Anything today is possible. How many people thought that 2008 and the collapse was impossible, too big to fail? Lehman Brothers could never go down. We could never have a collapse. We could never have a bank run. We had an electric bank run where trillions of dollars were taken out within hours. But we were told that could never happen. The system would never allow that to happen, and it happened. So anything today is possible. And so many people rely and depend so much on the US dollar and its status as the world reserve currency, and that it's going to be there for the next 100 years. And I believe that we're putting too much faith in that there's a very high potential that the US dollar is not going to be the reserve currency, the world reserve currency forever. When you look at the dollar dumping going on around the world, China and Japan steadily dumping US dollar holdings over the past several months. Russia has dumped 84% of its holdings. India has cut its holdings the last 5 months. What would happen if we lost our world reserve currency, the US dollar? What would happen? More than likely, we would see interest rates spike, and more than likely, we would see hyperinflation kick into America, and we would probably see America turn into a third world country quickly. And it's heading that direction right now, but we would probably be a third world country within a matter of days. This isn't fear porn, this isn't fear mongering, this is just reality. I believe that if you have assets put away, if you have security, if you have cash that you can access, not sitting in a bank, that you can readily access, I believe that when you see an economic collapse hit like this and there's blood in the streets, that people who are prepared, who are their own central bank, they're going to capitalize, they're going to flourish, they're going to make money, they're going to get ahead, they're going to have a better future because they're going to take advantage of this situation. And so if you think like this as a self-sufficient, independent, free-thinking human being, if you think as yourself as a central bank, I believe that you're going to be victorious when these bad times hit. And I believe that a lot of people will make a lot of money when these bad times hit. The people who pay the price are the people who were asleep, the people who hoped this wouldn't happen, the people who were unprepared, the people who said it could never happen, and the people who have a lot of debt. These are going to be the victims of an economic collapse, which is going to be most people. So this isn't fear. This is just strictly a wake up that I believe there's going to be huge opportunity. It's going to be scary times, dangerous times, risky times, but the people who are prepared are going to flourish, they're going to make a lot of money, and they're going to survive, and they're going to survive and become very wealthy. Listen, guys, have a great week. Always a pleasure to discuss world events. Thank you so much for the comments, positive, negative. Thank you for the subscriptions, and please keep subscribing. Continue to hit that little bell so you get the next new video and that you're continually updated. And again, thank you so much for viewing and subscribing. Have a great week. God bless you guys, and I will talk to you very, very soon.